Aloha, everybody. Welcome to Real Nerds. I am Ryan. To my left is...
James.
To my far left in a sound booth, 25 feet away is...
Brad. Hey, guys.
Hey, what's up? This week of Real Nerds is dedicated to my friend Chris Karpinski, who unfortunately died in a car accident over the last weekend. So, Chris, hey, buddy, this one's for you. Wish you could be playing softball, but yeah, it's a bummer.
It's a bad week.
Bad week, but this one's for him. Hopefully he'll hear it some way and he'll laugh. And he's like, oh, that Frost, he's... When he's not playing softball and tripping over bases, he's making fun of shitty movies called Wrath of the Titans, which we saw this week.
Oh, man. Way to bury the lead.
Real news.
It's real news.
So the big story, real news-wise, is The Hunger Games is the highest-grossing single weekend movie for a non-sequel. It came in at number 3 overall, behind The Dark Knight and...
Harry Potter 7?
Harry Potter 7, thank
Part
you.
2?
Yeah, Harry Potter is number 1 with 169, Dark Knight's 158, and The Hunger Games is 152. 152 million if you guys don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm actually surprised.
Oh,
Because even forecasters, I think, said the most was like...
And because it's, like The Dark Knight makes sense because it appeals to anybody who likes Batman, and, it's got some grounding already. This is a movie that, it's based on a book, and lots of people like that book, but the number of people who like that book, I would just assume, is less than the number of people who liked Batman Begins.
Because even something like Twilight, I don't think its opening, the first Twilight opening was that spectacular.
No.
I mean, I'm guessing maybe 40 million, 30, I don't even know, but, that's what I was expecting. I mean, I knew it was big because, Fandango was saying they're selling out, there's the fastest selling tickets ever on their website, which is shocking because even the ads for it really didn't push it too hard. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a little bit, but...
Yeah. I didn't feel like I was inundated with ads. I'm sure if you were in L.A. or New York or something, you were, but for regular people...
Yeah, so I guess they knew what they had, and that movie cost $80 million to make, so it's already turned a $100 million profit in its first week of release.
Yeah, Twilight was 70.
Yeah.
Which is, that's crazy.
21 Jump Street actually didn't fall that much.
No, that's so good.
Still did pretty well, but, that's crazy for a March movie to have that much money.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Obviously the biggest opening ever in March.
It makes me wonder why they put it in... Well, obviously it did well enough, but...
I think that... Actually, I don't think it's that bad of a strategy because...
No.
Right away in May, if it went against the Avengers head-to-head, it'd lose.
Yeah.
So I think they realized that if they put it right just before the movie we saw, that they had a pretty good chance of not only winning last weekend, but this weekend too.
And probably next weekend.
Yeah.
For that matter.
So yeah, that's a big box office news. Box Office Mojo supplies us with all our box office information. So thank you, Box Office Mojo. Did you know Box Office Mojo is ran by Amazon? Just saying.
Really?
Yeah, I read that the other day. I just was reading about Amazon, and it's one of their little side companies.
Huh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a weird thing to own.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it doesn't make them any money.
Guess they just, do it from the ads that they always run.
Right.
On there, it's like,
exactly.
Shrink your waistline, and it's like the really weird, terrible Flash and
Photoshop
stuff. But hey, I guess you got to make money somewhere, huh?
Maybe they're like, when people go to look up a movie and all of its statistics, they can put an ad right next to it that says, also you can buy it.
Well,
Probably.
Maybe that's not a bad idea either. Yeah. I'm sure that they're smarter than me, so I'm sure they have a reason for owning it.
But don't put yourself down like that, Ryan. I'm sure you're just as smart as the guys at Amazon.
On Amazon? Well, where's my $1 billion in?
He's running a podcast that makes no money. They're running a multi-billion-dollar corporation that does make money.
Yeah. Yeah, we're about equal.
Yeah.
Well, if I had the ability to distribute maybe DVDs at reasonable prices, then maybe I would be a billionaire. Who knows?
Hey, speaking of DVDs, which ones come out this week?
This week is War Horse. Hey, that was a great job.
Hey,
see,
now you
really
kill the
good
segue
segue.
if I call you call it out.
It's all right.
Oh man,
War Horse comes out. There's 3 versions of War Horse. There's Spielberg usually does a collector's edition of all his stuff when it's released on Blu-ray or DVD, and this one, it's War Horse is a 4-disc one with
4-disc Blu-ray.
Blu-ray with the DVD special features and a digital copy.
Yeah.
Then there's also just a single disc Blu-ray and a single disc DVD.
No, there's a 2-disc Blu-ray and a single disc DVD.
Oh wow! So they include the DVD on the Blu-ray one then too.
I think so. Yeah.
That's quite a big release.
So it's not really a 2-disc Blu-ray. It's a 1-disc Blu-ray, 1-disc DVD.
And also, We Bought a Zoo, which nobody saw in this room.
But both of them are movies that I missed last year and want to see.
You still haven't seen Warhorse?
No, I haven't. I totally. Well, I was out of town that week or so.
Right.
So
yeah, that was a me and Brad special weekend when we saw lots of movies together.
Yeah,
here's our horsey date.
It was.
Oh.
And there was no movie with Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh wow! Went to that well.
Well, that's what James calls her. I don't.
She looks like a horse, dude.
I think there's a joke in Family. Isn't there a joke in Family Guy where Peter feeds her a carrot and rubs her face?
Yeah, but they weren't the ones that came up with that.
He also says she looks like a foot.
People have been drawing connections between her and horses for many, many years because she looks like one.
Sometimes she's all right. She's married to Matthew Broderick. I like Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, I like Matthew Broderick too, and he likes horses.
Evidently, bestiality.
Ooh, the zoo.
So
Speaking of zoos.
So thank you to Digital Bits for our DVD release information.
Why doesn't Brad just let us ramble? I bet we'd get a lot more hits if they just let us ramble and be
really
funny.
We were just on the brink of talking about bestiality films.
I know, and then you know what? That would have sold.
You know what? Sorry, I'll let you finish.
No, you know what? You just killed.
Keep talking about horse fucking.
You killed my momentum. So thanks, Digital Bits, for all your information that you supply us. Remember, if you're going to order a DVD from Amazon, order from Digital Bits and support them because they're cool.
There's a joke about killing momentum and horse fucking that I just can't. I can't make.
Yeah, I can't think of one.
Yeah, it's there somewhere. But anyway, what else happened this week?
This week is another thing for Brad with the...
Brad's got news.
Not as big, I mean...
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Welcome, Brad news.
Will be
segment.
the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
You know, I was...
Only.
And people are mad again.
You know what I was thinking about this? Do you think Michael Bay purposely does that to create awareness for this movie?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Like, you know, where it's kind of like free publicity, where he says...
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, they're, of Alien, and then... Oh, I'm just going to call it Ninja Turtles.
And it's smart, because if the movie is good, then it doesn't matter what you say about it beforehand. If he delivers a good movie, nobody's actually going to care about that shit afterward.
Yeah.
You know, if you get people pissed off about it and they have to go see it and find out just how much you fucked it up for them, then you've made more money in the end. So
yeah, I was just curious.
The highest grossing Batman movie isn't even called Batman, so sometimes it doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
that doesn't matter. I mean, Ninja Turtles to me is... I always abbreviate it Ninja Turtles. I hardly ever say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know
as a fan, you want to... as a hardcore fan, you want to see the full name up there representing the brand, but at the same time, they had a live-action cartoon show just called Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation, so it's and most people just refer to them as Ninja Turtles, so it's...
Well, it's how long do they have to be teenagers? And the term mutant is such a 90s, kids sci-fi kind of term.
Or the 60s.
That, well, yeah, but...
Thanks, Stan Lee.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what I'm saying? We don't see stuff about they get hit with radiation and turned into something else unless it's a Hulk movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes sense to me from a marketing standpoint if you want to bring people in who are not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fans to drop those two words. Because it makes it a kids movie and it makes it a sort of dated movie. Or if you just call it Ninja Turtles, that sounds dope. I want to see a movie about turtles that are also ninjas.
It sounds generic to me, but yeah, it's for marketing wise.
Generic?
I get it.
Ninja Turtles?
No, it doesn't. I don't agree.
So, say Samurai Hamsters sounds appealing to you.
Yeah. I want to see that movie.
Yeah.
Now.
It sounds more appealing than G-Force.
How about...
you sold me on Samurai.
Army Sharks.
Fuck yes! Oh my god!
Are they going to
Yes, actually it was called Street Sharks, and I want to see a movie of Street Sharks.
Damn it. How about a Squirrel Assassin?
These are
all
these are
brilliant.
titles
Damn it.
for movies. No. Because if it were teenage fun time squirrel assassins. That would not be good.
I'm even more interested,
yeah, you might be right. Teenage fun time squirrel assassons. Oh, we just wrote our first movie.
We just wrote our first show on Adult Swim.
Yeah, absolutely.
Slit your throat.
Oh, they're the Care Bears. But
yeah, nuts if you think that's going to happen. Get it? Nuts, squirrels.
It's the fourth Chipmunk movie.
Oh, man.
Oh, man, we're geniuses.
Production department right here.
Yeah. So, Ninja Turtles, it'll be great.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we'll see.
Of course, it was scripted by the guys who wrote the movie tonight. So
I also was thinking of you because I was reading comic solicits at work because that's how busy we were today. And the new cover for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming out in April or May is the Return of the Shredder.
Oh, sweet.
And the whole cover is just Shredder like coming at you.
Hope Andrew gets me a ton of the different variants. It'd be great.
Yeah, it's it says a comic 600 years in the making. So I didn't know Shredder was dead for 600 years.
They may be playing with the whole Shredder's Neutron thing, like the cartoon did.
The Shredder's Neutron thing.
Yep.
Yeah. That would make sense.
Cowabunga. What else do we got?
This week is a bad week for making movies about the Neighborhood Watch.
It is.
This is a weird story to start off with, but it's just.
I thought you were going to talk about Anchorman, but go ahead.
No. I'm gonna save the good stories to the end this week because I feel like real news always peters off at the end. So at the end, I'm gonna, we'll talk about something interesting. But basically, this self-appointed neighborhood watch guy in Florida killed a 16, 17-year-old kid.
Yep.
So now
that's what you do when you neighborhood watch. You take action instead of watching things.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, especially Lethal Force.
Yeah, on a kid.
The last
anyway,
resort. Yeah.
Real Nerds does not support killing children. We'll lay that out there. I think I can speak for all of us.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so they're pulling all of their promotions, the promotions they had out there now for Neighborhood Watch, especially in Florida, because they have to now start promoting it as like a fun time fighting aliens movie. Instead of having, because what they've had is all these posters that say like Neighborhood Watch, and then you saw like a profile of an alien, but it didn't really make it clear that it was about like the Neighborhood Watch fighting aliens, and so they're having to completely.
I think it's the bullet holes that they're more concerned about.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
The poster.
Yeah. Well, and just the fact that it's not terribly clear, like it just says Neighborhood Watch, and there's obviously some violence going on, but it doesn't. It's a bad time for that.
Yeah.
They're making a Fargo TV show.
What?
I know. This is not the first time they've tried.
Is the Coens involved?
No, not at all.
So guess what Ryan won't be doing?
Yeah, watching the Fargo TV show. Right. There was one that they made for, I forget what channel it was. It was a network channel some time ago that starred Edie Falco from Sopranos fame. And I watched a few minutes of the pilot episode, and it was bad. Because, I can understand trying to make a show like Fargo, but when you start making Fargo, you start having to recast the character of what's her name?
Marge.
Marge, and she is played so well that to have Edie Falco come in and try to adopt that same style of the character, it feels really false and gross, and I hate the idea that this is ever going to get made. But I think it's for FX, or TNT. Either way, I can't remember. But that's going to be bad. They're still making a Twins sequel, and it's going to be called Triplets. And you know what could make a sequel to Twins worse?
Dude, if you say Pluto Nash.
No. Pluto Nash is not in this movie.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Eddie Murphy is.
Oh, Eddie Murphy, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it's going to be garbage. This is a horrible idea.
How could a guy who's a different race be a twin of a short and a tall guy?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're gonna have to explain that at some point. Maybe they'll put him in whiteface. There we go.
James, what the fuck?
Oh, I'm just saying. You brought up the idea. I'm just saying maybe that's it. I don't even remember Twins well enough. Do they ever explain why one of them is like ugly and short and the other one is Arnold Schwarzenegger?
This is a franchise where a man had a baby, so can't be too critical.
Absolutely. AMC, the theater chain, this week has announced that they're going to release Bully in their theaters, which Bully is the unrated Weinstein Movies documentary about bullies, and they say the F word a few times, and so they couldn't get a PG-13 rating so that kids could go see it. And so instead of taking an R rating, they released it unrated, which pretty much meant that nobody was going to see it. Cinemark...
And also you can't share R-rated movies in schools, which is also where they wanted to show it.
Right, exactly. And so Cinemark has already said they're not going to show it. Regal has not said whether or not they're going to show it or not. But AMC this week said they are going to show it. And not only that, but they're going to let kids in to see the movie if they have either an adult with them, or there's going to be like a permission slip that they can have filled out and signed, and then that, which for them to build that kind of an infrastructure for this movie is pretty crazy. It's sort of that first sign that maybe the Weinsteins releasing this unrated was the right thing to do, and it might actually sway some people in their favor and take a little power away from the MPAA, which would be kind of cool. I'm also just glad because it means I'm going to get to see the movie. Yeah, I was afraid it was just going to get canned and I'd have to wait till the DVD, but now it doesn't look like that. Which is cool.
Is their own kind of bully.
What?
The MPAA is their own kind of bully.
Yeah, there is a certain irony to this whole fight.
Even like I don't. Why are theaters so afraid of putting a movie in there that's not rated? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody. As far as I know, there's nobody to like enforce them or nobody to come back.
It's not a law. Like,
yeah,
it's like a guideline. You know what I mean? Technically, you don't have to. You can let anybody you want into a rated R movie. It's just a guideline. It's not a law.
Well, I mean, the fear. It's more of a fear factor. It's more that they. It's the same thing that kept the comics code in line, which was that they were afraid that people would not support a theater that did not hold fast to this organization. And eventually,
an organization that's totally archaic and doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, and is now backwards and broken and run improperly.
Yeah, that's another thing. But yeah, you know what I mean, though? Like, why are they so afraid of the MPAA? What are they going to do to them?
Well, and that's the thing, is that in the 80s when Stan Lee sort of challenged that and then ended up breaking down the comics code, that all happened because suddenly stores realized, like, oh, we can put books on the shelves that don't have this code on it, and people will still buy it, and people will still come to our store.
Nobody gives a shit.
If the same thing happens in theaters, then
I think that's actually a good thing. I think if they Bob and Harvey can pull this off, I think it speaks huge volumes.
Yeah.
That I mean. Do you know what I mean? Like, people are so self-aware, even with like social media and all the internet, that people already know that bully has curse words in it. Like, you don't have to have a rating telling me that there's curse words in it.
Yeah, if the box underneath it just said like rated PG-13 for extreme language, or just said has extreme language in it, you know?
Yeah.
Or it says uses the F word. How about that? Multiple times. That would be fine. Well, yeah, everybody knows.
I mean, the ratings now are so ridiculous. For I forget what movie what zombie movie, maybe it was Zombieland. It says for extreme graphic zombie violence.
Yeah,
there's an actual zombie violence part. So I mean, yeah, it's stupid.
The fact that the rules are such that if you go to see The Italian Job, that's okay. It's a PG-13 movie. Mm-hmm. If you go to see The Italian Job twice in a row, you just heard the F-bomb twice, which means it's a rated R movie. Because see what I did there? Because if you saw the movie twice in a row, you heard the F-bomb twice, because there's one, and that's now rated. You're looking at me confused. Anyway.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyways,
maybe it smells bad in the sound booth.
Did you see that Ron Burgundy was on Conan O'Brien?
I did.
And he announced that Anchorman 2 will start filming very soon.
Yeah, he sort of said that they've come to terms, which makes it sound like that's part of the reason we haven't seen a sequel yet, is because there were
I think
some kind of argument.
Yeah, probably the biggest thing would be, in my estimation, is all those guys are really big stars now.
Yeah.
And so it's probably really hard for them. I don't know if the money's a big thing, but maybe their schedules is really hard to, get them all in the same room.
And they're guys that, like you say, they've all been busy, so it's something that they could be patient and wait for a good idea, not necessarily a good script, but a good idea for what that movie should be about.
Have you seen the Lost movie of Ron Burgundy called Wake Up, Ron Burgundy?
No, I haven't.
It's Anchorman, but what happened is, I mean, obviously, they shot a whole different movie, and then they went back, and I mean, it's kind of funny. It's not as funny as the panda bear thing.
Yeah.
It's about this, I don't even remember, it's so ridiculous, but they would where scenes were just edited differently to fit the panda bear movie. opposed to the movie that they originally shot.
Huh.
And they went back and reshot it and everything. You can totally tell. But it's kind of interesting.
What does that say about the unrated version of Anchorman? Like, what if there's, because I can understand there being cutting room floor footage that, like,
yeah, I'll have
here's some racy stuff they put back in.
No, it's not
if
racy.
There's a whole other movie.
It's a whole other plot.
Right.
Like,
no, that's what I.
Yeah. It's. I mean, you'd have to watch. I can't really explain it to you. But I mean, it's an hour and 20 minutes long.
Wow.
And yeah,
man,
it's. I mean, there's no Baxter being punted into the ocean or anything. And,
what?
Yeah. That whole little subplot was put in later.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of like how they made Groundhog's Day and started filming that movie with a completely different script and basically rewrote the script as they filmed the movie. Only that came out to be one of the greatest comedy movies of all time. Anyway,
when Bill Murray was funny.
Yeah.
I know he looks funny in what's the new Sunshine? What's the new
Moonrise Kingdom?
Moonrise Kingdom.
Oh yeah,
he looks funny in that one.
Yeah,
he's usually pretty good in Wes Anderson movies.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have that to look forward to, and that's good.
Yahoo.
Cool. Brad, you don't have any more news, do you?
No, I had the Ninja Turtles thing, so.
You did.
And the Anchorman thing.
Nice. Cool. So I guess we'll go into what we've been watching. I watched a couple things. I'll be really quick with the first one. I rewatched Girl with a Dragon Tattoo.
Oh yeah.
And the Blu-ray is amazing. I mean, it looks so good.
Yeah.
And the supplemental features are typical Fincher, where it's really good. I'm really interested to listen to his commentary because he's usually pretty detailed and
yeah.
So yeah, the movie is. I think the movie is really good, and yeah. I don't really need to say anything else about it. But the other two things I watched was maybe the worst Robert Downey Jr. movie I've ever seen.
What?
And maybe one of the best ones I've ever seen.
What? I'm excited.
So I watched In Dreams, which stars Annette Bening and Adrian Quinn. Is that his name?
I don't know.
Quinn? Whatever.
Aiden, yeah.
Aiden Quinn. She stars as a woman who has terrible dreams. Terrible dreams about kids being killed. Terrible dreams.
Please tell me this is the good movie.
No, this is a terrible movie. And then one day, her daughter's in a Snow White play, and she's the mirror. And then afterwards, Annette Bening is talking to all the other kids and they're having fun, but then her daughter goes missing. And then her daughter's murdered. That's pretty sad. But but she dreams about her daughter being murdered, but she didn't know it was her daughter till after her daughter was murdered in her dreams.
Oh, so she was having dreams about a girl being murdered,
yeah,
and then realized that they were her daughter being murdered.
Daughter.
Oh, that's messed up.
And then when she went into a coma because she tried to kill herself, then the dreams she was having were shared by the killer.
Is Robert Downey Jr. the killer?
Robert Downey Jr. is the killer.
Oh,
which sounds like a cool premise because Robert Downey Jr. as a bad guy.
Yeah,
sounds really cool. But the movie is terrible. Like it's not written very well, and the music in it is so distracting because it's every part that leads up to the murder or after the murder is so like melodramatic, and then the music just overbears it, where it's tons of strings and it's too loud in the mix.
Yeah.
So it's like you should feel sad for Annette Bening right now, and then Annette Bening's character choice in it was really annoying. She played that she was going crazy because she was sharing dreams with this killer, but it was so stupid because she was having dreams about what the killer was about to do that she was sharing with the killer, but she was going crazy, so no one wanted to help her. And you think if she was a sane thinking woman, she would be like, well, if people think I'm crazy and I'm acting crazy and no one's listening to me, why don't I just act normal and then try to stop Robert Downey Jr. from killing more people. And then Robert Downey Jr. plays both the mother and father character, like he's deranged. So every once in a while he gets this like really high voice, but then he's really violent. Dude, it's bizarre and not good. You do not need to watch it.
Is Robert Downey Jr. at least pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's always pretty good. I mean, he does play it pretty well because, I mean, even when you're given a script, and I mean, he's basically playing two characters in one. And so he'll be running around in a really high voice, and then he'll go crazy, and he'll be like deep and serious. So it's kind of, I mean, he's kind of terrifying in that way. Yeah. Because you don't see him like that ever. And then he actually survives at the end, where Annette Bening does not.
So there could be an In Dreams too.
Well, no, I'll tell you the ending unless you guys don't want me to spoil the ending for you.
I'm a real big Annette Bening fan, so
really,
no, I'm not.
She's a terrible actress.
She is. I knew this was the bad movie when you said Annette Bening.
You know, she's the only part of Richard III I can't stand.
Ooh.
The rest of it is so good, but when she reads like Shakespeare, she sounds like she's reading Shakespeare. She doesn't sound like she's acting Shakespeare. Where Ian McKellen, it's just natural. You know, he's walking and it flows and it sounds so nice coming from him. But then when she reads Shakespeare, it's like she's reading it. She's not acting.
There's a movie called The Grifters with John Cusack. I remember nothing about it except for a scene where Annette Bening takes all her clothes off, and it's scorched into my memory.
That would burn me forever too.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Annette Bening falls into the water, where the same lake where her daughter was found.
Oh.
And then her daughter says, "It's okay, come with me." So Annette Bening dies, and Robert Downey.
She like kills herself?
No, she like falls into this. It's so stupid.
But like she lets herself drown.
Yeah, she lets herself drown to be with her daughter, and her husband was murdered too.
Dude,
by
fuck
Robert
her
Downey
life.
Jr. Yeah, so she just decided
man.
she was going to die.
Okay.
So at the end, Robert Downey Jr. is in a new mental institution because, he killed people.
Right.
And then as he's going to sleep, he's haunted by the ghost of Annette Bening.
Ah, man. She's going to spend eternity haunting a crazy man? Mm-hmm. This is the happy ending?
Yeah.
That's silly.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I don't think I want to see that movie.
So the other movie I saw, though, was amazing.
What was it?
It's called The Last Party, and Robert Downey Jr. makes a documentary about the 1992 presidential election. And, he's only, I think, 23 at the time.
Yeah.
And it's him going to the Democratic convention and the Republican convention and interviewing people there and problems that everybody's having in society. And, dude, it blew my mind because, one, you can tell Robert Downey Jr. is on drugs because he's like, really unhinged in it, and he's so eccentric through the whole thing. Like, guy's on Wall Street, and he's the guy he, like, really started talking to was this, like, totally steroided up dude. He's like, "Oh, fuck up, fuck poor people, man. I fuck them, I hate them." And Robert Downey Jr. is like, "Really, dude?" It's like... And then they talk about, the difference between being poor and being, rich. And, all the Wall Street people are saying greed is good, being funny, referencing Wall Street.
Yeah.
And but then he'll go to, there's so many touching moments in it. He was running through Central Park in just his underwear. And then he stopped and he decided he was going to meditate. And all these people are gathered around him and asking him questions. And then this little boy... started making fun of him. He's like, "You're stupid, man. You run around here in your jockeys and you have zits on your face." And you're like, what the fuck is this kid's problem? But then the next scene is him sitting down with this boy, and he says, what's wrong, man? Are you upset or something? He says, "No, man, I love my mom, but I hate my dad." And he talks about how he doesn't like how his parents are divorced and how much he hates his dad, and Robert Downey Jr. is just talking to him, and dude, it's crazy, and he's so good in it. And I think because he's such a good actor and he's so charismatic that he makes a really good interviewer.
Yeah.
I have a couple of favorite scenes. One, he's walking through the back of the DNC, and he passes this guy, stops and looks at him double times. He's like, "I know you love me, and chances are." And it's just it's so funny. And another scene I really enjoyed is he was at the Republican National Convention. There's two scenes there. One, he's talking to this rally of Republicans, and this girl stands up and just says, "You know what? Being PC is worse than what it was during the McCarthy era." And he does like a double take. He's like, "What the fuck did you just say?" And it was crazy. And then he went. These black people were just protesting George Bush and were pissed off, and they're yelling. You don't see Robert Downey Jr. is like behind the camera, and they say, "Yeah, we're tired of you fucking people, the black people." And then it cuts to Robert Downey Jr. Like the camera pans to him. He's not wearing a shirt. He's like, "Wait, me?" And he's like, "Well, you're white, aren't you?" And then he takes them to their ghetto and explains why their life is hard. And you have to see this movie. You can't. It's only on VHS, or I got it on Amazon Instant Video. It's $2.
Oh man!
But it's crazy. And you can tell towards the end he's a Democrat, but he plays both sides. It's like George Bush has problem connecting with poor America, but Clinton has all his skeletons in his closet, affairs and stuff like that. So it's kind of an interesting documentary, and I mean, there's just some scenes that just they're like, yeah, dude, you're right. Like there's he goes with these people to go get their welfare check and food stamps, and then he walks next door to their neighbors. Their neighbors are like, yeah, we have so much money, and I don't know why people just can't work. I work all the time. And so Robert Downey Jr. says, well, what if I told you that your neighbors are struggling and they don't have bread or food or anything? What would you do for them? And she's like, one, I let her watch my kids, so I pay her for babysitting. And it's like, what? But yeah, it was a movie that totally caught me off guard, and I didn't expect a kind of movie with him in it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting, and I mean, everybody should check it out because it's a side of him you won't see.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
And yeah, so I loved it.
Did you know that's what it was before you watched it?
I knew it was a documentary about the Democratic convention.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was him really going through and talking to a bunch of people, just random people. And then he took up the cause for fighting AIDS, and it's really cool. And he wore a Colorado Rockies hat in it. So
nice.
Yeah, it was great. So I mean, you can just you have to watch it. It really touched me. Because not so much because of the election, but like how things haven't really changed very much, and if you just replace a few things,
it's weird that it's not on DVD. That's
I'd expect it to be something with like a Criterion collection of it because it's not it's really obscure.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's Sean Penn's in it, Richard Lewis. He interviews all these celebrities and he asks them about what's going on and how they feel, and I mean, it's definitely something you should check out if you ever have the opportunity. $1.99 on Amazon Instant Video.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's kind of interesting, and yeah, there's a couple other funny parts. I can't really remember them. Oh, when he's talking about Wall Street, about how fake they are and how they're driven by money, and then he goes to see his dad. His dad's so proud of him that he's actually trying to get a message out there, and it's interesting. It's interesting, so you should check it out. And he does a goat boy, and you have to.
What?
He's so weird and. It's funny though.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, that's what I saw this week was a bunch of crazy things. Totally different. Everything I saw this week was totally different. Brad, what did you see this week?
I think I'll save.
Well, I only saw one thing too, so we can just talk. Mad Men came back this week.
Boring.
Yeah, Ryan's going to turn off for this part, but oh man, it was a breath of fresh air. Having it. I've missed this show so much.
The only one positive thing I will say about Mad Men is I think the acting is amazing in it.
The acting is great. And the thing is, I think, like, for me, it is like some of the purest storytelling because at its most basic level, it is just characters. It is simply, I love these people, I love these characters, and their problems are normal problems. And usually they are different every episode or they change as things go on, but it was so fantastic just to be back in that place again. It was great. I've told the story already to the guys, but like 50 minutes in, I didn't realize that it was a 2-hour episode, and I was thinking like, oh man, it's gonna end sometime in here, and none of this stuff is wrapped up. What are they gonna do? And then I looked, and there was still another 30 minutes or so left in the episode, and I was so happy. So it was great. It was just, Brad, what did you think? Are you excited that it's back?
I was surprised. Like, I'm not a huge Mad Men fan, but I do think it's a good show. I was surprised that, like, I got into it last year, so I didn't have the whole 2-year wait thing going on. Where I was like, oh my god, finally it's back. It was just like, I watched all the previous seasons towards the end of last year, and I figured, hearing that they were gone for so long, they would have like come back with something like instantly in the first hour that would really grab you. Like,
yeah.
But it was a really slow crawl. Like, all the cool stuff I thought happened in the second. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weren't you gone? Go back. Get out of here. Don't derail me. All the more interesting stuff for me happened in the second hour, which after the Draper's wife went on the balcony, I didn't understand the 2-hour thing either. I knew it was 2 hours, but because of the way the guide was set up, I expected 1 hour at one point. So I was like, really? This is going to end here? Like, they had a party. That was it.
Oh, yeah.
And so then the second half
you sort of felt like it was going to end on this real down note, where it was like, oh, okay, well, she threw him a party and he doesn't like it because he's Dawn and you should know that you're his wife.
Right.
And then she goes out on the balcony and is sad, and then it fades black for a second.
And also in that first hour, I felt like a lot of characters were kind of... I felt like they were reading the scripts. like and just saying the lines out the script. Like there, a lot of the scenes had typical, "Hey, we're back. How have you been? Good. All right. Oh, hey, how you doing? How was your summer?" You know, they seemed very just. It wasn't going anywhere, and then after the party, things picked up, and I was back into it. And then they had that baby ass shot, which introduced my dad to the show, and he's not watching anymore. So
wait, the what?
They have that close up of the baby's asshole and balls.
Wait,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, there is a naked baby in the episode.
Like in the first 5 minutes.
There's an asshole and baby balls in it?
Yeah.
Well, they're not like zooming in on it. There's a woman changing a baby, and
that made your dad not want to watch it?
He was really into like the music, and all of a sudden, then they have that close-up shot of the baby's ass crack from underneath, and then the balls hanging down. He's like, "What's this?" And then he took off. Like,
really?
Shortly after.
Wow, that was his shutdown on
Yeah.
Mad Men. Was baby ass.
My mom stuck it out.
My dad and uncle walked in during an episode. I was watching it at my uncle's house once, and they were out doing something, and they got home right at a scene when like Betty Draper was laying on the couch and starting to touch herself. And and that's when they walked in, and they were like, "Wait, what is going on?" I was like, "It's just Mad Men. It's okay. Just leave it alone."
And you're like, "Don't worry, it'll be boring eventually."
Yeah. No,
they didn't walk in the part where their daughter touches herself either.
Oh man, whew. Oh Sally. Sally is 1.5 feet taller now. Oh, that was the weirdest thing. Like she popped up out of bed, and I was like, "No, you're not Sally Draper."
I feel like Mad Men throws in like subversive stuff like that just to. Just for hype purposes, like so people are talking about it later. Like
no, dude, that's
no one's ever done a little girl masturbating, in a drama before on TV.
No. Let's
throw that in there.
When you talk about the 50s and the way that they're talking, or then at this point the 60s, in the way that they're talking about it, you have to talk about that sort of sexually repressed kind of culture. I mean this. They never say it outright, but this is sort of a offshoot of Revolutionary Road, Richard Yates novel, and that's what that is about. Like that's always been a pretty strong underlying theme. I mean, it's not, that character will have that moment, but it's more how that moment ties into the culture as a whole. I don't think they're doing it for shock value. It's more that they feel like they're pulling back the curtain on how they think things actually were. But
you'll never see this on the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah, no,
shows
exactly.
From that era.
Exactly. No, you never would. I mean, that's because that's part of what the atmosphere at the time was.
Or the Beaver. That's probably a better reference.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I thought it was great. I loved Roger through the whole thing. Was just begging to get punched in the face. And he is one of my favorite characters, so that was fantastic.
Yeah, right out of the gate, he's just like being a dick to everybody. It's great.
Well, and because it's another season where they've clearly jumped forward in time some, like the status quos have changed a little bit. So that's part of it, is that they're having to catch you up because not only have we been away for 2 years, but because for reasons like with Sally Draper, she has to be 2 years older. So they have to jump forward enough and say like, okay, this is where things are, and start catching us up. Whereas the last couple of seasons they could do right in a row, and so they didn't have to do that. But so I didn't feel the way you felt, but I totally understand where you're coming from. I can see how somebody would pick that up. I thought it was great, and I'm glad to have it back. That's for sure. It'll make Sundays nice. Did you watch anything else?
I watched the 6 Days to Air South Park documentary on the new South Park DVD.
It's awesome.
It's fascinating. It's like watching my dream job, going in to my own animation studio at 8 a.m, spending like 3 hours coming up with ideas, and then having other people put it together.
You know what made me laugh is when Trey Parker was doing the Asian voice. He's like, "Oh, it's just so." I forget what part of that.
Yeah, I love when they're in the sound booth and just
awesome
giggling, and they're like, "Yeah, we're 40 years old, and we still get a crack out of fart jokes and shit jokes."
How did you see it, Ryan?
The documentary.
Yeah,
it was on Comedy Central.
Oh, okay. Because I had seen like clips of it online, but I hadn't seen the whole thing, and I wasn't sure if it was like on Netflix or something.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, I saw it on Comedy Central.
Cool.
And so that was just it's not long. It's I think a half-hour documentary.
Well, it's an hour on TV, so probably 42 minutes, something like 45 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. But it just kind of chronicles them obviously taking 6 days to air an episode, and then coming off the Book of Mormon, they're already sapped for ideas and just struggling.
Yeah, actually, that was my favorite part of the documentary. Is they're like, we just have no idea. Then all of a sudden they just snap, and then they know what they're doing, and it's pretty amazing. I think it seems like Trey Parker works so much better when he's under pressure, and he needs to get it out there. And
he says something on there about saying like, thank God it's 6 days, because if I had weeks to do this, it probably wouldn't get done.
Yeah,
I'd second guess everything and redo stuff, and the deadline really actually helps me get it done.
That's what I mean. Like he works against the pressure so well that it really adds to a show.
And he hates writing. He says it's the worst part of the process because it's lonely.
And how much? And then did he write like 6 minutes too long or something for that episode?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's a lot to cut out.
Yeah, or he'll write a bunch of stuff and standards will have to cut it out, and then standards.
The standards.
When the producer has to talk to standards and
some lady.
So
awesome.
the shit's in the one's mouth. No, you don't see the shit. Just the sound of it. And then later on they talk about how South Park at this point, like if you're complaining about South Park or getting offended by it, are you really that surprised?
Yeah.
It's almost to the point where they can't really be shocking at all anymore because people expect them to be shocking or like show you something that you wouldn't normally expect to see. And
they've crossed so many lines that at this point there aren't many lines left to cross either.
Yeah, to where you just see it coming ahead of time. So there's no surprise element. It's like, I totally expected them to be something shocking.
And you sort of stop noticing that things that they've been doing for a long time are still really racist and offensive, like the Asian voices and stuff like that. That when it started, though, was a big deal, but now is like, well, that's just South Park.
Yeah, it's I've read interviews with directors too, like the director for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He said that a lot of times now that the MPAA or censors know what kind of movie you're making, so now they kind of just let you do it. And I mean, there's still obviously still limits, but it's interesting because he says he really never ran into a big problem. Well, the newer one that he never ran into a problem because they knew that they were making this type of movie, and so I think that same thing with South Park is everyone knows what it is, and they know they cross a line, but it's a line that they expect, I guess.
Yeah. And so that goes into because I had the DVD, I was watching season 15, which I saw half of on TV, and then the later half I'm just now getting to. And it's kind of showing you can kind of see the lack of ideas, like them struggling to put stuff together. It doesn't seem as crisp and strong as like past satires they've done on some of their episodes. But, I mean, still pretty good, better than most stuff out there.
They I sort of watch it just every now and then. I'll catch an episode or so. And that season in particular, I think, is when they were being stressed the most as far as the Book of Mormon and all that stuff.
Yeah, isn't the last episode in that one where they talk about that, where it's like this is the last episode, or I'm pretty sure that one is where Stan's parents get separated.
Yeah,
it's the last one,
the halfway point in that season. Yeah.
Well, and isn't that the season where there's the NASCAR episode? Isn't that in that season, or is that the season before?
Previous one, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because that one too.
This one has the
stressed.
Human Centipede, and then the Crack Baby Football League, and there's one I started last night but fell asleep halfway through. Not because it was boring; I was just super tired. But it was part of the second half of the season that I hadn't seen yet, and that it was a satire of the 1% or 99. The 1%.
Yeah.
And that seemed really crisp and like strong, but
right.
But I'm not saying it's weak. I'm just saying you can really tell how overworked they are with the Book of Mormon and the show together. Like they're just totally burnt out.
I was just gonna say because I saw an episode a couple of weeks ago which was about all the Cash for Gold stuff, which was fantastic. One of the finest episodes of theirs I've seen in a while.
Nice.
Just as far as being funny, as far as the satire is concerned, it was whatever. They weren't trying to do a lot there, but it was a funny episode, and they let some jokes drag and let some awkward moments get in there, and it was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll get to the movie we saw this week. Brad, should people go and see Wrath of the Titans?
I guess if you like the first one, sure, why not? But I didn't see the first one, so I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah, I didn't see. I've seen bits of the first one, and it's action, I guess, but it's not particularly good action. I would say no. Like the little things that I think are slightly redeeming and slightly cool about this movie would be just as middling and mediocre on TV when the DVD comes out or when it shows on FX in 5 years. So no, do not go see this movie.
I agree. I don't think you should go see it. But hey, maybe the trailer will change your mind.
Perseus, I need your help. We believed Titans to be in prison forever. Now, we're breaking free. It will mean chaos. The end of the world.
There's a way we can end this.
What are you waiting for?
Prepare! There for what?
Oblivion.
But probably not.
The thing I didn't get... Okay, so, I'll start... I don't even want to describe the plot in this movie because there really wasn't one. But
which is maybe the best thing about this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it literally just goes from one set piece to the next.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Rafe before we left. I said, who knew an action movie could be so fucking boring?
Yeah.
Rafe?
Right, the other Ryan.
The other Ryan.
Oh.
Yeah. Rafe. R-A-I-F. No, Rafe.
Ralph.
No, Rafe. R-A-I-F.
Who?
Rafe. Anyway.
So I was telling Ryan after the thing that the action is just so boring. Like,
yeah.
And the one part I didn't get too was, so he's flying on the Pegasus and he's coming to Queen
Andromeda.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't even remember
Rosamund Pike.
And all of a sudden, like, all the archers like, shoot it down, let's get him. And then the next scene cuts, and they're like, woo, Perseus! You're like,
well, she was telling him not to, and then I guess they understood, like, he's Perseus.
But she's like, hold your fire. And then
how
everyone
in
started
this world
cheering.
does everybody know? Yeah.
That's your first cry.
But that's not, yeah.
My first one's like,
oh, no. I mean,
Hades bands with Ares to release Kronos and get back at Zeus. And then by the end of the movie, they're buddies again?
Yeah, that part I kind of liked. My problem with this movie was I didn't realize that it wasn't rated R going in. I just sort of assumed, like, well, it's Wrath of the Titans. This has to be a rated R movie, right?
There's
like,
only one Titan in
it. But it's not. And so, like, when he fights the Chimera at the beginning, he doesn't rip its head off or, like, rip its tail off. There's no blood. There's no, like, actual hardcore violence, which I think maybe just because I'm coming to this as a fan of God of War, like, that's what I want this to be. Like, I really want this to be just this awesome, ultra-violent kind of movie, and it's so not that then the violence is just sort of passe, it's kind of pedestrian for, like, a CG movie. That then there's nothing that makes it special. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Whereas if I got to see him tear the head off of a Chimera, that would be great. But that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's, you're right. I mean, it seems like his stupid kid, like,
they should have had the Chimera eat that kid.
Yeah,
like in a better movie,
motivation,
right? Yeah. Then he's just pissed, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna go and just kill all the gods."
Yeah, and at the end where, he's meeting Ares at the Temple of Gods, and he walks in and all of a sudden you see Ares and he just pulls his kid randomly from behind a pillar. You're like, what the fuck?
That whole scene is so bizarrely shot, because then, like, the way that it ends is, like, they're fighting for a while, and then the kid is there, and he's got, like, he picks up a sword or something, and then Ares, like, stares at him and walks over.
If you looked, he was crying. He was touched that... a son would fight for his father.
Oh, is that supposed to be what I was getting?
Yeah, but I mean, That's why he
But
got...
it doesn't explain why Ares acts the way he does.
No, it doesn't.
That was
Not
my
at all.
problem. Is that
No,
the way
not
it
at
was
all.
shot, it was like Ares stares at him for a while and then looks back and he's gone, and then we look around and then he gets hit, and it's just like
and I guess,
cut in such a bizarre way that
Perseus can take a way bigger beating than anybody else because he's
Yeah.
driven through marble like 16 times.
Well, he's supposed to be like Hercules.
Well, yeah, I
They
understand.
don't really make
He's
that
a-
clear because then like he gets cut and stuff, and
Yeah,
then they
he's
got to sew him up.
he's
But
a demigod. I get that part,
Yeah.
but they never really explain that he has.
Did they explain in the first one about Ares' beef with Zeus?
No,
Or is that just
I don't think
something-
Ares
No.
was in the first one. I don't remember.
yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah, that's the impression I
They
got.
don't actually understand any of the mythology because like okay, I was really excited. This is weird, but when they said they were going to go see Hephaestus, I was like, this is awesome because Hephaestus to me is maybe the most interesting Greek god character because he's got a little more depth to him. You know, he's
Like
crippled.
what?
Well, he's crippled, and he's sort of ugly, and he's given Aphrodite as a wife, but she doesn't like him because he's ugly, so she has sex with everybody, including Ares, and so he locks her up for a while. And just like that character to me sounds really, really interesting. But they turn him into like this crazy hermit. And then there's a scene where Hephaestus is going to fight Ares. And I was like, cool, like go over there and bitch slap him and be mad at him because he's sleeping with your wife, or at least at some point did, you know. But they don't actually understand that there's any connection between those characters. Like they just sort of, you know, they understand on a very surface level the mythology. And then they don't give it any depth, so I don't understand. Like it's just dudes. They're not special in any way.
Yeah, and I mean it's the plot was so incoherent too.
Yeah.
And the editing was bizarre. I mean, the part where he was freeing Zeus from his molten rock, it's he started to lift up the rock and he's like, "Son, use your strength." And then the queen chick, I forget her name all the time, goes to like hit Zeus's arm, and then all of a sudden his feet are free, and then Perseus knocks one of his arms off.
Didn't someone get their arm cut off?
Yeah, there's a thing. It looks like that, but it's
I
just
thought
like
Ares-
a rock falls over or something. Like it's really weird. You're right, because there's like you'll get clips of like other stuff falling and hitting other things that don't really make sense with what we're watching. Because there was one point where I thought that Perseus had fallen off of something and hit his head or something, and then I realized like, oh, that wasn't him. That was something else, I guess.
How does Perseus get out of Kronos at the end?
Kronos explodes. And
Yeah,
then
he flies in his mouth, and then he just keeps on flying straight down. Then Kronos explodes, and then he's all right. He's flying out. He's okay.
Well,
the Pegasus got hit with magma and survived that, so I guess it's not.
Perseus
real hot
held up
magma.
a wooden board against fire from the whatever two-headed thing. So
Yeah, the Chimera.
That's
Yeah.
right.
but a wooden shield does not burn so fast that like spraying fire at it would necessarily make it disintegrate.
But there's heat.
No, there is. It is. Yeah, no, it was dumb.
Yeah.
There was a great line, though. There was one funny line, and that was at the end where Percy's son went to
So
the
good.
navigator. And what did he say?
Well, the first good line is that he says, "Come over and meet your uncle Navigator." And you're like, wait, you can't really call yourself Navigator. And then he says, his son comes over and says, "I hear that you were a great disappointment." And he goes, "Yes, I am great."
Yeah.
That's like a high school kid, like
Oh, it was so good.
high school dialogue type.
It took
line.
three
It was great.
writers to make one good line.
It's the
Yeah.
liveliest
In the whole
part of the
movie.
movie.
Yeah, because they also tried to put funny parts in it, with...
Yeah.
I guess they're trying to make Sam Worthington's character more human in this
Yeah.
one. Where like, oh, we'll have him get hit by Pegasus' wings, and
Yeah.
the Pegasus will punch him back. Yeah.
then I guess all you have to do is... and two, okay, back to editing. So either, fighting these Cyclops, and all of a
Which
sudden...
were the worst CGI
Yeah, oh, it's
Cyclops.
terrible.
Oh.
But he jammed the sword up on that one Cyclops' hand, and then they cut away, and then they cut back, and there's all these other guys helping him all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Where the fuck?
Well,
did those
and
guys come from?
why couldn't the thing just pull its hand off of the sword?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made no sense at all.
I mean, I think the ideas behind him could be cool,
Oh yeah.
but I mean, I thought the part leading up to the Cyclops with the way it was shot, where you kind of saw him in the background and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's kind of cool, even though you knew it was Cyclops already.
I mean, it's a little cliche, but
But
yeah.
but I mean, it just creates atmosphere at
Yeah,
least.
absolutely. It's doing something.
Yeah.
But like that, back to that scene with the shield, like when that started and he holds up the wooden shield for the fire, I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. Like you're going to address the fact that he just held up a wooden shield and like it'll burn and cinder and stuff and the fire get at him and he'll have to toss it down, and he'll be a little bit defeated by that or whatever, But they make no deal of it at all. Like, he uses a shield, throws it away, and runs somewhere else. And you're like, no, there are little chances where they could do something cool and show us something interesting. And I feel like they just sort of skip past it.
Does the Chimera have a snake tail?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a goat and a lion with a snake for a tail.
Like, the only time you see the snake part is for that one shot.
Yeah.
And then
It's because they didn't have the balls to actually make it a snake, because they figured that looked weird, I guess. But
probably look cool in 3D. By the way, we didn't see it in 3D.
Yeah,
No.
we did not.
Oh, I bet that opening WB on the really bad CG rock would have looked real cool in 3D. Like swimming underwater in 3D.
I will give the movie one thing, though. The Kronos CGI looked pretty sweet.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
it's just like the
And
first one. The Kraken looked amazing.
Yeah, and the I think the design of the Chimera and sort of the look of it, the CG was not always great, but for the most part, I thought it was pretty good for that level of movie, especially by comparison to those.
No, even
those Cyclopses.
Yeah, well, the monsters too, with the dudes on the back and the dude in the front.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
were
the
cool.
two dudes on one dude's legs.
The Gemini soldiers. That's what I call them.
Gemini soldiers.
Why?
Because duality.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I thought those looked pretty cool. I mean, there's parts that looked cool, but the movie was boring. You think it'd be like really cool, to see gods fighting and
yeah. I mean, it's the same problem. The first movie, reportedly, when Louis Leterrier wanted to make that movie, he was like, okay, it's just going to be Perseus decides that he's going to go and like fight the gods and defeat the Kraken or whatever, or he's going to pick a fight with the gods and they're going to send the Kraken at him, and that's the whole movie. It's just like him beating up monsters so he can beat the Kraken at the end. But then producers and all of that sort of wedged all of this story into it that did to that movie apparently what they did to this one, which is just slowed it down so much and sucked so much of the action out of it that it gets boring. It's like, I don't actually care about any of that stuff. I just want a God of War movie. I just want a pissed off dude fighting giant monsters. And
not Hades being bummed that he's banished, so he releases the most dangerous thing on the planet. And then when Zeus apologizes, he's like,
No, that's not why Hades releases it.
Huh?
That's not why Hades releases it. Like, I think the story itself is kind of cool, which is that because people are not believing in the gods anymore, the walls of Teneris are starting to fall down, and so that's what's releasing Kronos. Like, Kronos is going to be released anyway. It's just that in order to spare himself, Ares and Hades help Kronos get loose.
Well, even the story of Kronos and how Zeus came to be is pretty interesting. I mean, like the real story is, Kronos would eat his children because he's afraid that they'd overpower him and take over, and that's cool. I mean, they could have had a story there, and
there's a cool dynamic there because there's even a line in there where Zeus says, like, "Don't you remember he tried to kill us?" And Zeus is the one that was saved from being eaten by Kronos. Hades was eaten by Kronos. Like, there's a weird dynamic there where one of them actually knows what it's like to be killed by their father, and the other one does not.
Yeah.
And again, they don't address that. There's really cool stories here and stuff that you could play with that they just sort of skip over.
Yeah, I think they're just pandering to, unfortunately, the not cool moviegoers like us. I was talking to, this is totally off topic, but Jimmy's kids, my assistant Jimmy, his kids hung out with me, us one day at our restaurant, and they asked me if I saw the Hunger Games, and I said, yeah, I did. They said, "Did you like?" I said, I did. And they asked me what my favorite scene was, and just how you change your taste. My favorite scene is when they're pulling names out of the lottery, and I love how it was shot, and I love the tension in it, and that stuff. They said, we liked when people were being killed, and it just
when.
But like the difference in how your taste changed. So I mean, maybe if I was younger, I'd appreciate Wrath of the Titans more.
I don't know. I mean,
but I don't. I mean,
yeah, no. If I were younger, I definitely would have. But I don't know.
See, I don't know. I
mean, there are movies
that maybe my nephew Parker would like, because it's just a bunch of guys fighting, and he doesn't care about story.
Dude, your nephew Parker really liked Jaws, so he clearly cares more about story than you think.
He does. It's pretty amazing. He's 4, and his favorite movie is Jaws. Followed closely by Jurassic Park, by the way.
And not just like he likes Jaws because it's got sharks and sharks are cool. He likes Jaws because he knew that Chief Brody was going to win. Like, that, oh man, that touches my heart.
Well, he was telling me about Jurassic Park the other day, and that when the T-Rex ate the sheep. He called it a sheep. That's fine.
Yeah.
That he said it was pretty cool that it would shake the ground and the water would shake.
Yeah.
And then he ate the bad guy. He knew the lawyer was a bad guy.
Nice.
Oh,
I really want to.
The only one I've got on my side is the blood-sucking lawyer.
Yeah, that great scene. But like that's I do love watching movies with him because I'll never forget episode 1 when he asked me where Darth Vader was as loud as he could in the movie theater, and the whole movie theater just laughed.
Where's Darth Vader?
Where's Darth Vader in this
He's
movie?
He's that
I
little
know.
boy. Don't you connect with him?
I know.
We all know.
Yeah.
And he was upset there was no red lightsaber until Darth Maul had one. Because that's his favorite color of lightsaber, by the way, is the red one.
As
He's
well
gonna
it should
grow to be a Sith.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, Sith have so much power. I'd rather be a Sith.
Uh,
Anyways, we saw
Yeah.
Wrath of the Titans this week.
So this is directed by the future director of the next Ninja
Turtles movie.
So,
What'd you think, buddy?
pretty much what I expected already from a Michael Bay produced movie. It's going to be light on story, and the turtles might actually look cool if they're half as good as Kronos.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think he was bad with the direction. Actually, I don't think the action was poorly shot.
Yeah, it's
The-
pretty
the-
good, yeah.
I mean, it was
The-
poorly edited,
Yeah,
which was partially his fault.
But yeah, the dialogue, I'd be worried about that.
Yeah, I mean,
But I don't know if
I
that's
don't know.
really not his fault. I mean, that's definitely writing. But
it's Jonathan.
Aren't they? You said they were the same writers, though.
No, it's not. I was
No.
mistaken when I said
Okay.
that.
I think
Cool.
he also did Texas
Woo!
Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning.
He did. Yeah, he did. Battle of Los Angeles, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, which I haven't seen, and Darkness Falls are the other
I've
big
seen
movies
all of
he's
those
done.
except for Battle for Los Angeles.
Well, Battle of Los Angeles is better than Wrath of the Titans by far. So
So he can
unless
do
you really like
action.
The Beginning, then that's probably his best movie. And yeah, absolutely, he can do action.
Oh no, actually, I thought The Beginning was actually
that was a good one.
it's not bad.
Oh.
I mean, it's pretty grotesque, but I mean, it's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, so
Yeah.
he did. Actually, I actually do like the visuals in that movie a lot. Makes it grimy and dirty and
Yeah,
brutal.
the things about Battle of Los Angeles that are bad are not his fault. Most of that movie is really cool. It's just weird scenes like "I can help, I'm a veterinarian." That lines like that just really break that movie.
I just hope there's not like an army of alien Ninja Turtles fighting each other on like a battlefield.
Oh, dude, what if there was one Ninja Turtle and he had a spear and he was standing on top of a pyramid, and there was all these other Ninja Turtles and they didn't have spears and they were charging up the pyramid at him, and he was like, "I am the chief predator."
You can't. Yeah, you can't quote a Paul W.S. Anderson movie. Come on.
I thought you were talking about Revenge of the Fallen.
No.
His AVP.
Yeah, AVP.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Fallen is different.
Actually, that's my favorite scene from that movie.
Dude, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I like that movie.
Yeah.
I do.
I really want to see Prometheus.
That is probably my favorite Paul W.S. Anderson movie.
Really?
Yep.
Well,
Just saying. Because I think the
What
Predator
other-
looks cool.
Yeah, he does. I mean, what other? Except when he hand signs what a bomb does to it.
This blows up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, it was dumb as shit. Yeah.
And you can make fun of the lines because he wrote that movie as well. So,
Oh, did he really? I don't
yeah.
remember that.
dude, he writes and directs all his movies.
Oh, how?
That's why they're all exactly the same.
Oh.
We're caught in an underground labyrinth with everything changing and monsters are after us.
Is that how Mortal Kombat is?
They're trapped in. No, yeah, there is a part where they're in a labyrinth. Remember, they have to. Fudge, I haven't seen that movie in so long, but when they're trying to find Goro and stuff, and yeah, when they're searching for people, and then they find Goro talking with Kano.
That labyrinth scene in this movie tonight was weird, too. That was way too long.
So they build up how like it's this, the labyrinth is this mind trick, and you're like your worst enemy is your own thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's like the laziest labyrinth ever. Like they just kind of stumble through it and then avoid some pitfalls and then fight a minotaur and then bam, they're in Tartarus or whatever.
It moves like Cube all of a sudden. It was built like it was going to be cool. Like, they're
It's the most difficult puzzle ever created, and they show all these intricate
Just kill the
and it's just
bull
like,
man.
no, all you have to do is make the bull man run into a wall. That was the other thing. Half of the monsters in the movie he defeats by simply outlasting them until they defeat themselves.
Or, yeah, I mean, the weakest
Perseus fights Monster. Monster beats the shit out of Perseus. Monster gets stuck in wall. Perseus wins by default.
Or Ares, the god of war, gets beaten by a chokeout.
Yeah. What?
What the fuck?
I was hoping for his.
Well,
like,
no.
bend
He
him
gets
back
stabbed.
and-
He gets stabbed. Yeah.
But he
by
gets
a little
choked,
dagger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was hoping, thinking Percy, the strongest man ever, like would bend him, like break his spine. But no, he
Yeah.
just
No, in a
falls
rated
asleep,
R version
passes
of this
out.
movie,
He puts him in a sleeper hold like Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
You could bend him in half, and you have to show blood. You can just hear the spine crack, a la Breaking Dawn.
but in a rated R version of this movie, like he takes that little sword that his son was like carving and stabs Ares in the face, like in the eye, and then blood flies at. I've been watching too much
Zeus's
Spartacus.
lightning bolt and stabbed him through
never
the
have
chest.
Spartacus.
Yeah, I mean that, but there needed to be more heads ripped off. That's what I wanted. I wanted
Yes.
heads ripped off.
We want Spartacus.
Nah, I
Yeah.
want God of War.
Yeah,
Straight
God of
up,
War.
God of War.
Maybe that'll be my next movie pitch. I was going to do my Freddy versus Jason versus Ash movie pitch on our blog, but now maybe I'll do Ghost of Sparta.
Who do you cast?
As Ghost of Sparta? Dude, The Rock.
No, no.
I'm just kidding.
The Rock isn't bald enough.
I don't know. I haven't thought. Yeah, he is. He's completely bald.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I don't have to think about it. I think he'd be awesome, though.
I'm
Dude,
gonna
have you
spend all
seen
weekend
Faster?
this.
He's angry and just kills people all the time.
Have you seen Walking Tall?
I have. He beats people with a stick.
Yeah, he does. The big 254.
He's awesome.
Get these strippers out of my town. That's not a line in the movie, but it should be.
It would be awesome.
Yeah.
Guess what? You can like us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You can also follow us on Twitter, real_nerds. You can email me directly, realnerds@gmail.com. You can look forward to seeing us at Starfest coming up really soon,
Yeah.
April 20th.
April 20th. And you can also follow our blog at realnerds.tumblr.com. Hey, and you know what? There's a comic convention in Denver that we'll be at.
Come hang out at our booth. We'll have
Come hang out at our booth. We'll have booth babes, my wife,
and prize giveaways
and prize giveaways.
and
There will be
podcast
some
recordings.
stuff. Yeah.
It will be amazing.
Do we need a permit to record there?
I don't think so.
Oh,
We,
good.
we can record guests and something else.
Oh, okay.
But we record ourselves because we're so interesting.
We'll pretend like I'm a guest.
By guests, I
kinda
mean
am.
like Will Wheaton and those
Dude,
guests.
yeah, Will Wheaton's going to be there now.
Nice.
Oh, I want to meet Will Wheaton and hug him.
I want to meet Billy West.
And I
I'm
wanna
like,
try to
dude,
make
can you
out
do
with
the Honey Nut Cheerio voice for me? Because that's what he's most famous for.
Even though nobody knows it. Cool.
Cool, bye.
Bye.
What are we seeing next week, guys?
Oh, yeah, we're seeing American Reunion next week.
Yeah.
James is really looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
But hey, James, remember, 2 weeks and it's Cabin in the Woods.
2 weeks, man. It's a long 2 weeks. But we'll get there.
We will.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.